Yeah, it's the same with the tips right now. We don't have like a tipping culture in Europe. Like you do that, you have it on the check and you have to tip. Basically,
We kind of do.
More or less now. Now they started adding service tips, even though they pay very good wages, like decent wages. So it's strange that you have to tip. But it's like common, courtesy to tip around 10%. But I mean, if you like read some survey,
I'm like Mr. Pink from the Reservoir Dogs.
Hello everyone.
Hello.
I'm Weronika.
And I'm Waldemar.
And today we're watching a brand new, well, not to the scene, but to us, a stand-up comedian.
Yeah, Joe Machi or Joe Machi. I don't know, I'm not sure. But we have never seen this guy, not on this channel and not outside of this channel.
Yeah.
We just found him on YouTube in recommended videos. And it's called American Problems Sound Ridiculous to Other Countries.
Yeah, so I'm very intrigued. I think we might find it relatable as citizens of other countries.
Yeah, I have a couple of problems that come to mind when I'm thinking about American problems that sound ridiculous outside of America. There is quite a few of them if you don't know.
Like what? Like that you can't walk anywhere, for example. That you need a car. That's so strange in Europe. Like you can walk everywhere. There's pavements everywhere,
Yeah.
If you want to walk from a village to a village, you can walk.
Yeah, or like you cannot call the emergency, the paramedics because you will go bankrupt.
Or like you faint and then your life is over because now you're in medical debt until the end of your life. Yeah. So we'll see what the subjects are here, but I have a couple of ideas. Yeah,
if you know this guy, maybe or maybe not. We will see him first, and then we will tell you if you want some recommendations or not.
We will give our judgment.
Yes, like Roman Caesars, like. By the way, do you know that supposedly it's on the other way around?
Yeah, I was just thinking about it. I read it somewhere. I was trying to organize it in my mind. Either that is the other way around, or that it wasn't true that he was showing that. There was something.
But I read somewhere that it was the other way around. Like this was to live, and this was to die.
Which kind of makes sense because this is like go ahead, and this is like don't go ahead, right?
Yeah, but that depends on to whom he is talking to.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see this guy.
I'll tell you what really grinds my gears, though. Charities. Yeah, I said it. Things just got real here, gang. I think they're a little too aggressive, a little too in your face, if you ask me. Sure, you've had this happen. You go to the supermarket, and after they ring up all your stuff, they ask you if you want to make a donation right there in front of all the other people. That's not fair. Because depending on what I just purchased, it might ruin my excuse to avoid helping. Like one time I was at the supermarket, I purchased $30 worth of scented therapy candles. It's really, nobody's business why I'd appreciate some space on that. Then the cashier asked me if I wanted to donate $1 to the Save the Children's Fund. And normally in that situation, I'd just say, oh, sorry, I can't. Money's a little tight right now. But since I just bought those candles, I politely explained to her, oh, I'm sorry, I don't care about the children. And these do-gooders are everywhere. You can't avoid them. Turn on the TV, there was an ad that said you can...
Yeah, it's the same with the tips right now. We don't have like a tipping culture in Europe. Like you do that, you have it on the check and you have to tip. Basically,
we kind of do.
More or less now. Now they started adding service tips, even though they pay very good wages, like decent wages. So it's strange that you have to tip. But it's like common, courtesy to tip around 10%. But I mean, if you like read some survey,
I'm like Mr. Pink from the Reservoir Dogs.
I do tip sometimes, but
and then I'm getting angry at her.
That was one time. I mean, the guy was really nice though. It depends on the situation. But what I wanted to say is now that you can tip on the card as well, I really hate this situation, especially in. Remember we're not in America, but you go and you purchase something from the counter. It's not even that someone comes to you and then they give you the paying machine thing. I forgot what it's called. And it says right there, do you want to tip? And you're this close to the other person. They're looking at you, they're handing it to you, and you're like, no. Exactly. And it feels like, like in that Black Mirror episode that you're like giving just someone a thumbs down. And you're right there, like, no, I don't want to make your life easier today so that you can have an extra coffee or something.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It's annoying because it's so, in your face. And especially with the big corporations, that's the thing I hate the most. Like you order something at McDonald's and they're like, oh, do you want to round the payment? No, like fuck off.
Yeah, I
like
hate that so much.
You want to pay those people bigger wages, then do it yourself. Don't take it out of my pocket.
Or it's for charity, like he's saying here as well. There's like, do you want to round up for Ronald McDonald's charity? I'm like, you round it up.
You have more money than me.
Or when you book a plane ticket nowadays, they say like, do you want to pay this much to lessen your carbon emission? I'm like, you lessen your carbon emission.
Yeah.
What?
Exactly.
Like for children, I can understand even, but carbon emission, you stop doing empty flights.
Exactly.
Okay, let's go on.
Feed a starving child for the price of a cup of coffee. And I don't know if that's true or not. I don't care. But what bothers me about that ad is how they portray us hardworking coffee drinkers as some sort of freewheeling extravagant spenders going around to fancy parties, dropping $100 bills on coffee. That's not a real thing. That's why you won't see me at the coffee shop saying, ooh, double latte. Someone doesn't give a shit about orphans, you son of a bitch. These do-gooders are everywhere. I'm sick of them. Even that Bill Gates has gotten to the act. He's always trying to get people to donate to his charity, which is weird. He's the richest person ever.
What we said, right?
Why is the richest person ever asking the non-richest people ever to send him cash? But he defends it, saying that his fortune will be donated after he's dead. Me too. You'll have my donation over my dead body, Bill. And even during the NFL football matches, they keep having ads on for the NFL's Play 60 charity, which, in case you don't know, is a charity to get kids to play, because we have too many fat kids, I guess, I don't know. And that might sound like a dumb charity because it is. But it really made me think. Maybe the problem is America is doing so much better than so many poor countries in the world that to them, some of our problems would seem totally backwards when you explain them. They're like, hey, Joe, how are things going in America? And I'm like, not so good. Too many fat kids. Sometimes it just seems like there's too much food over here. I mean, we tried giving those kids Nintendo Wiis to get fit, but that was a disaster. Most of those children are dead now. Wow, your country's confusing, but please tell me more. Well, California's having its worst drought in decades. Well, that sounds bad. Is there famine? Is there mass starvation? Well, they're thinking of making it illegal for people to fill up their swimming pools. What the hell's a swimming pool? You're not gonna like this. A swimming pool is a crocodile-free private lake we keep in our backyards, then never use. Wait, that's...
No, but let me know, because on the crocodile-free part, I feel like that's not always true. I know crocodiles don't go into swimming pools, but I know there's like alligators in some part of the US that they just pop out of nowhere and then they're just in your garden.
Alligators do and crocodiles don't?
I don't know. I think there's a difference, but I think it's mostly alligators, but I don't know. I think crocodiles are not as
I didn't
popular.
know they had crocodiles in the United States.
I think they don't, maybe. I don't know. But I know there are alligators, so which is kind of, I mean, it's different, but I mean, when it's biting you, I don't think it makes that much of a difference if it's a crocodile.
But they are smaller, right?
Yeah, they're a bit smaller, yeah.
Alligators are
I think so.
I think a lot smaller than crocodiles.
But still deadly, right?
Yeah, depending on the size and how big you are.
Yeah, the size of the human, important as well. But I know they can just sneak into your garden.
Yeah, but it's like a popular issue, like in Florida and in places like that, like Louisiana, that you have alligators in your how do you say it?
Backyard.
Backyard, yeah.
No, we have hedgehogs in our backyard. That's about as dangerous as it gets. You can get stabbed on your finger.
Or on your foot. That's pretty worse.
For the Hitchcock, for sure.
That sounds good. You've got a store of fresh drinking water for whenever you need it. No. We poison the water. And if the pool's above ground, that means you're poor. Yeah, if your tank full of poison water isn't in a hole, you're very unsuccessful in this country. People drive by and say, look at that rube with all his above-ground poison water. Wait, so you just needlessly throw money into a pool of water? No, that's a wishing well. It's a whole separate, stupid thing. That's when you have money that you don't want to hold anymore, so you throw it. What do you do then? You make a wish. Do you believe that it comes true? Absolutely not. That's ridiculous.
It was a bit different than I expected. I didn't think it would be like third world countries versus first world countries, because when he said other countries than America, there is quite a lot of...
But I think many of you think that the rest of America is third world, right?
I hope not.
Like second world at best.
I hope he didn't think those are like Germans or French people's thoughts. Yeah, but it was pretty funny. I think I could see more.
Yeah, for me it was not so great.
It was hilarious.
His delivery was weird. Like he was shouting every joke.
He seemed a little bit stressed.
He seemed stressed,
right? Like he was shaking. So I don't know, but there's so many more people who are able to perform nowadays, and I think it's great that there's so many people getting like attention, and he's on Comedy Central, so it's a pretty big deal. You have your big name behind your back, so that's great. But it's more popular for sure, and there's maybe not everyone is gonna be exceptional.
I liked his bit about the coffee drinkers because it's very true. Like two more most targeted groups with stuff like that. Like, what are you spending your money on? You can spend it on like stocks or charity or stuff like that. And there are coffee drinkers and cigarette smokers.
And one more thing is the millennials with the avocado toast.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, of course. Avocado toast.
Yeah.
Like, did you spend $5 today on a coffee and $10 for a cigarette? If you would spend those $15 for like 17 years, then you would have a good car. Like,
and there's the very classic comeback to that joke, which is always to that line, which is always like, "Where's your car?" and "Where's your super expensive car?" if you're not smoking.
Yeah, but what I mean is those two groups are very often people who work hardest and earn very little.
Yeah.
And that's like the only good stuff going on during their day. Like they can afford one coffee and it's like a reward for them for getting up and going to work.
Or you just simply, you work such long hours that you don't have time to make it at home. I mean, of course you do have time, but you don't want to. You want to sleep these 5 minutes longer, so you get a coffee at a nice place.
People who spend, spare money for stuff like coffee, they don't spend it in Starbucks. They are going to the more expensive places. Those are the people you should target and say, what are you doing with your money? But they don't care because they are already like millionaires.
Or people who like buy Starbucks franchises. I think that's the level that we should target. Not just coffee buyers, like people who buy Starbucks franchises, just buy the whole store. I mean, not the singular coffee. I think that's the real problem.
I understood franchises, and I was like, what? when did that happen?
Okay, and maybe this is a good moment to finish. So,
So bye.